Introduction. This book has come about because it occurred to me that many people have acquired a philosophy of life without ever thinking about how they arrived at it. I reached mine by living some 80 years, picking up a formal education after a fashion, reading, watching movies and television, listening to music, interacting with others, and exploring alternatives. My formal education includes a BBA in economics, St. John's University, 1964, an MBA in computer methodology, Baruch School of Business, 1970, an AAS in business programming, County College of Morris in 2003, and an MA in biblical studies, 2017, Alliance Theological Seminary. I've come to the conclusion that all individuals have beliefs and values by which they live, whether or not they call them philosophies. Even those who spend their entire existence scratching out a livelihood from the earth have a life philosophy, even though it is quite probable that their acquisition of it is quite different than mine and from one another's. At this point, I've entered my 8th decade and am retired. This book is an attempt to explain how I reached my life philosophy. My purpose in writing this book is to give the reader an opportunity to examine their own philosophies of life and resultant behaviors to determine whether they offer any real fulfillment. Each chapter encapsulates some far-reaching subjects. The reflections and observations in the chapters are those of one who has, together with my wife, raised 4 sons. One of those sons, Robert, was autistic. He passed on, went home to be with the Lord, in our view, in 2009. The other 3, Jim, Mark, and Rick, are pursuing occupations which they enjoy. From 1959 through 1989, I worked in a corporate environment. 23 of those 30 years were spent at CBS, in the news division, in the recorded music division, and in corporate. I've spent nearly 35 years as an adjunct college professor in several colleges in northern New Jersey. There was overlap in my careers in the corporate milieu and academia. During those years, I read extensively, spent numerous hours watching TV, both mundane and quality programs, and taught Bible courses in a local, non-denominational church, and at the Good Shepherd Mission in Paterson, New Jersey. I've become an avid student of history. In terms of attitude, one of my closest friends, now passed away, spoke of me as opinionated, but willing to negotiate. From this background, I offer the contents of this book. I regard myself as an amateur historian with few credentials. Since I have no degrees in the subject, you're free to take or leave what is offered. Perhaps I can impart some measure of valid information to you. Perhaps you may get angry at times. Some have accused me of being simplistic, others as unduly pessimistic, still others as cynical. Since others have as much right to perceive things as they do as I do, that's okay. I see myself as realistic enough to understand that there are numerous dictionaries from which to choose a definition. I selected the following from the Google Dictionary. Adjective: realistic. 1. Having or showing a sensible and practical idea of what can be achieved or expected. Jobs are scarce at the moment, so you've got to be realistic. Synonyms: practical, pragmatic, matter-of-fact, down-to-earth, sensible, commonsensical, grounded, rational, reasonable, level-headed, clear-sighted, businesslike. Informal: having both or one's feet on the ground, hard-nosed, no nonsense. You've got to be realistic. Achievable, attainable, feasible, practical, viable, reasonable, sensible, workable. Informal, doable. A realistic aim. 2. Representing familiar things in a way that is accurate or true to life. A realistic human drama. True to life, lifelike, truthful, true, faithful, unidealized, real life, naturalistic, graphic. A realistic portrayal of war. Antonyms: idealistic, impractical, fictional, imaginative. As you can see, there are a lot of synonyms. For those who like precision, perhaps too many. However, I didn't make them up. Others did. In another book, A Pragmatist Looks at Christ, in 2017, I see a relationship between realistic and pragmatic. The former leads to the latter. All the chapters of this book, except the last two, have basically the same objective. Each chapter attempts to point out the futility of committing a life to the pursuit of values that appear to bring fulfillment, but do not. We are human beings who think and feel. We look for ultimate contentment. Unfortunately, many settle for schmaltz. The things we pursue may be intrinsically fulfilling for a time, yet they will not bring ultimate contentment for human beings. Although all our pursuits have or appear to have a bright side, they also have a dark side. Starting with history in Chapter 1, this becomes obvious. In the chapter, What History Teaches, my purpose is to highlight the dark side of history. Other chapters, except the last two, reveal their own disillusions. Attempting to provide exhaustive coverage of the subject matter is an impossible task. I acknowledge that my objective is to show the dark side of the topics. All things have a dark side. By ignoring this, many have and will continue to destroy their lives while on earth, and even worse, may destroy their souls for eternity. Many have tried with entire volumes to show the positive side of those topics. To most people alive today, the word negative is anathema. To be accused of being negative is the epitome of contemptibility. I accept that. Please read on to get riled up.